As you can see, I did my project on hip hop culture. So, I'm going to ask you to picture this. Picture a neighborhood of a city that is in its darkest hour. If you look around in this neighborhood, you would see rubble everywhere. This is because 97% of all the buildings have either been burnt to the ground or completely abandoned. The few rich bureaucrats of this neighborhood even burned down their own buildings just to collect the insurance money. Poverty was the widespread trend. If you can picture this desolate scene, you are most likely picturing what the South Bronx of New York was like in the 1970s. Looking at these pictures should give you a little perspective on how bad it really was then. Yet, throughout all the adversity, the youth of this abandoned neighborhood created something astonishing. That little something is what we know today as hip hop. So, how did all this movement come about anyway? Well, let's jump to August of 1973. A Jamaican gentleman by the name of Clive Campbell, later to be known as DJ Kool Herc, held a back-to-school party for his sister, Cindy. It was a small party by the standards that was held in his apartment's ballroom. Only a couple hundred people attended. What he did as the host of this party, however, sparked the hip-hop movement. And pictured here is an original invitation to the party written on a 3x5 note card. So, how did he start a global movement at a small party in a desolate neighborhood? Well, he effectively became the world's first DJ. He had a guitar amp and 2 turntables with him, so he began experimenting with mixing tracks. He used early forms of DJ techniques, scratching and breaking, to make the first mixed hip-hop music. Pictured is a modern DJ equipment and a hip-hop turntable. After the movement was kicked off by DJ Kool Herc, there were 2 other influential figures that helped the movement take flight. There was DJ Kool Herc, a man named Afrika Bambaataa, and Grandmaster Flash. Together, they were later called the Holy Trinity of Rap. After Kool Herc, the next big figure of hip-hop was Kevin Donovan, or better known as Afrika Bambaataa. He is most famous for quitting a notorious gang and founding the hip-hop organization called Zulu Nation. Zulu Nation was based off the African Zulu tribe which he is descended from. Many of the influential hip-hop figures of the time were part of this group. He also gained the nickname Master of Records for his vast knowledge of funk grooves. Funk grooves revolve around the bass guitar. He even created his own genre of music known as The last of the Holy Trinity was Joseph Sadler, aka Grandmaster Flash. Grandmaster Flash was famous for mastering and perfecting 3 essential DJing techniques: beat juggling, which is toggling between songs; scratching, which is moving the record back and forth on the turntable to create the distinct scratching sound; and punch phrasing, which is isolating a single note. He was also the one to coin the term hip-hop. As I said, these three men, the Holy Trinity, helped the hip hop culture take flight. So, now that you know how the hip hop culture came to be, you are probably wondering, what exactly is hip hop? First of all, hip hop is not just a genre of music where people spit and curse to a beat. Hip hop, rather, is a culture with four main elements: DJing, a music element; MCing, or better known as rapping, another music element; B-boying, aka breakdancing, which is a dance element; and graffiti, which is an art element. The first element I will go through is DJing. So what exactly is disc jockeying? Well, it is the art of manipulating two or more pre-recorded tracks together in a unique way to create a mixed song. This cannot be accomplished without a lot of specific equipment. There are a few essential equipment items needed to mix music. For starters, you need headphones to preview the tracks you will mix, a mixer to transition between the songs, 2 decks to edit the tracks, a computer to find them, and 1 amp and speakers to amplify and play the music. There are many different DJ techniques. I have listed 4 of the simpler ones. Scratching, like I mentioned before, is moving the record back and forth on the turntable to create the distinct record scratch sound. Breaking is achieved simply by playing breaks of songs. A break is a solo or instrumental or percussion section of a song. Beat juggling is transitioning between 2 songs and mixing them together smoothly. And punch phrasing is isolating a single beat from a song on a mixer and emphasizing it for effect. The second, perhaps most well-known element of hip-hop is MCing. MC stands for Master of Ceremonies, but this element is better known to the world as rapping. Rapping is basically just rhyming to a beat when you break it down. It is a mix of poetry, prose, and singing, all crammed into one genre. In order to give a good rap, good flow and delivery must be achieved. So, what are flow and delivery then? Flow is quite literally the rhythm and rhymes of rap. Good flow has good rhymes that work, a good rhyme scheme, and good rhythm. A rapper must stay on beat if he wants to achieve good flow. Delivery is really exactly how it sounds. It's how a rapper delivers the rap. It's all in the voice. A rapper must establish a distinct tone of voice, otherwise the rap will become very dull. Also, good rappers enunciate words very well, even to the point of exaggerating them for effect. Lastly, a good rapper must control his breathing. Heavy and uncontrolled breathing can really mess with your vibe while rapping. Rap has its roots in Africa. Tribal Africans used to tell stories rhythmically to the beat of an African drum. The lyrical aspect has its roots in blues music and folk songs from the time of slavery in the U.S. Rap itself was born from mic announcements at parties. DJs often would announce things on the mic. For example, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only Joe Smith. DJs eventually got creative with these announcements. They would make them rhyme or throw on a backbeat. Eventually, this evolved into rap music. When it was first created, it was much more primitive on all aspects. The wordplay was simpler and the beat was much less complex. This snippet from Afrika Bambaata's hit song Planet Rock should give you an idea of this. After the golden age of rap in the 80s and the early 90s, rap exploded and became much more like it is today. Here is a relatively new Eminem song snippet that should demonstrate this.
With supersonic speed. You assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is ricocheting off of me and it'll glue to you and devastating more than ever, demonstrating how to give a mic for the audience. I'm feeling like it's levitating, never fading, and I know the haters are forever waiting for the day that they can say I fell off. They'll be celebrating because I know.
Since the dawn of hip-hop, there have been countless MCs, but only a handful of very notable ones. Most of these artists came around in the golden age, or the late 80s and early 90s, when rap really became popular. One of the first notable rap groups was the Sugar Hill Gang, whose smash hit, Rapper's Delight, was the first hip-hop song to reach the top 40 charts. Public Enemy was another big rap group of the golden age. They were very politically motivated, and their songs often caused controversy. Run DMC was another hit 80s group. LL Cool J was a longtime solo rap artist who debuted in the late 80s and continued up until 2005. Jay-Z is another one of these veteran rappers who came around in the mid-90s and helped transition old school rap to what we have today. Lastly, Eminem is one of the only hugely successful rags to riches white rappers who also helped shape modern rap. The third facet of hip-hop culture is b-boying, or commercially known as breakdancing. This is a form of urban dancing to a beat that is used to show off. The better your moves, the more popular you are. No one is exactly sure where this form of dance originated, but it is known that the gangs in the South Bronx substituted gang fights for breakdancing battles. Basically, the rival gangs danced off instead of killing each other for rights, turf, or respect. There are many types of breakdancing moves, all with varying degrees of difficulty. I have 4 listed here. The first move is the windmill. As you can see, this involves rolling your torso and head on the ground, while your head and legs provide momentum. Another move is called the freeze or elevated freeze. This move is accomplished by suspending your body in a pose while balancing on one hand. The third move, the head spin, is really exactly how it sounds. You spin on your head. And finally, the basic breakdancing move is called the 6-step, where your arms are supported by your body as it twirls beneath you. The last, more ambiguous aspect of hip-hop is graffiti art. Graffiti itself is defined as writing or drawing in a public space, which is usually illegal. Hip-hop graffiti is known as an honest visual expression of rap music. Hip-hop graffiti is often deployed to convey a social and political message. Many urban artists express their feelings through this type of graffiti. Now, people have always been putting writing and drawing where it does not belong, but modern-day political graffiti is said to have emerged in World War II. A person, or set of persons, wrote the phrase, "Kilroy was here," in many locations across the USA. Hip-hop graffiti was thrust into the public spotlight in the 1970s when the New York Times did an article about the extensive graffiti all across the South Bronx. Hip-hop graffiti has evolved alongside of hip-hop. Graffiti artists often tag their work by signing their tag on the work after it is finished. A common tag of graffiti artists is the artist's name or nickname plus their street number. For example, Fresh 56 for a man nicknamed Fresh that lives on 56th Street. It is an unwritten law of graffiti that you do not mess with the painting after it has been tagged, and it is very insulting to the artist if someone were to do so.